Xbox Chief Strategy Officer Matthew Ball revealed that Xbox Game Pass lost millions of subscribers thanks to last year's 50% price hike. Welcome to Inside Games Daily, the only gaming news show brave enough to appreciate yet another lesson from Xbox's No Duh economic series.
We've been learning a lot the last couple of weeks, haven't we? It's very nice. The thing is, and this is what I hate doing, like right away my brain thought, but unless they lose half their subscribers, it was probably a net increase in revenue anyway. We'll save the clown math for later though. And it's, yes, the glorious return of clown math. We have some things to prove here. But let's throw to the one man who has nothing to prove and is far from a clown, Brian Garr.
Thank you. Yes, so let's start off with a report from GameSpot, who said they reported the comment in a write-up yesterday covering Ball's comments on Xbox's recent policy shifts at The Game Business Live. Ball said tons of other interesting stuff about Xbox that, again, we'll get to later, so just stick around for that.
All right, but back to Game Pass. So unfortunately, Ball didn't expand further on the topic, apart from acknowledging that the new lower price, the $23 price, is still higher than it was the original price of $20. Because remember, it went up to 30 and then they lowered it to 23. It's that old Walmart, Amazon, Black Friday thing we all know and love.
That's right. It's how you get people to cheer for a price increase. That's fun. But that, like we said, is actually a decrease from a very dramatic 50% price hike that occurred in October 2025. And that sent the price of Game Pass Ultimate to $30 a month, which, you know, obviously resulted in millions of cancellations.
Hold on, boys. I'm getting some breaking news. Oh, people don't like spending more money for things. Yeah, especially 50% more. And yeah, while we can appreciate how validating this is, the clown math side of this isn't so comfortable.
Yeah, there's a lot we don't know about the math of Game Pass revenue, like how many subscribers there are or at which tier they are subscribed.
Yeah, but we can sure scrape together some numbers and draw false equivalences, so let's do that. Yeah, the most recent and somewhat trustworthy figure we have to work with here comes from LinkedIn, of all places, which may not make it so trustworthy. Around a year ago, Microsoft program manager Kevin Kay boasted about growing Xbox Game Pass from 0 to 35 million plus users worldwide. But shortly before that, then Xbox president Sarah Bond announced Xbox Game Pass had 34 million subscribers, so that seems pretty official.
Yeah, and then a few months later, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella said that Xbox Game Pass earned nearly $5 billion in revenue for the first time. So there you go.
All right, so here comes the clown math. We do this occasionally from time to time here on Inside Games, and I love it because this is all we have to go on. We're trying to guess in the revenue from these random figures that Lawrence generally finds and does a great job finding. So this is all we've got. So let's assume that nearly $5 billion from Satya Nadella equals 4.7 billion. All right, let's see. It seems fair. Nearly 5. If we just do a straight division, the average Game Pass subscriber was paying $11.51 a month.
All right, now let's assume that when Microsoft lost millions of subscribers, they lost 10 million. I think that's pretty generous for what millions might mean. So let's say theoretically we're down to 24 million subscribers from 34, but then we jack up all of our prices by 50%. Now the average Game Pass subscriber is paying $17.28 a month. But here's the shitty part. $17.28 times 24 million subscribers a month times 12 months, that's 4.9 billion in revenue. So even after shedding all those subscribers, we're still up $200 million and can try to earn them back somehow.
That's also assuming here, like Lawrence did, that the average Game Pass subscriber is paying $11.51 a month and they'd lost 10 million subscribers and they jack up all the prices by 50%. But they only jacked up Ultimate by 50%. The rest, I think they raised the price on a couple other ones, but it wasn't up by 50%.
Yeah, it's like in a sports stadium when they jack up the luxury box tickets, like more than anybody else. I don't know, but just like we said, there's tons we don't know about that accounting. We just like it when Master Chief shoots the aliens.
Getting back to Matthew Ball's comment, though, he made some interesting comments concerning Xbox's direction under new CEO Asha Sharma.
Yeah, perhaps the most dramatic is Ball's accounting of his first conversation with Sharma, in which she asked him point blank, "Is it fixable?" being Xbox.
Wow. Ball, who describes himself as a strategic optimist, said he joined Xbox because he thought what Sharma wants to accomplish is, quote, right and achievable. He didn't say exactly what it is that she wants to accomplish, though.
Make money, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Ball's optimism did not extend to affordable consoles, though. He reinforced that Xbox is committed to shipping Project Helix, that's the code name for their next Xbox PC hybrid console, but that the AI data construction boom has forced them to, quote, rethink everything that we can about Helix. Ruh-roh.
Yeah, concerning comments there, he said, quote, "We are working very hard to figure out the best way to navigate it, or a way that works for everyone that does not ask too much from players, but also doesn't detract from the other investments that we need to make as a company. We also have tens of millions of people who we ask to spend $500, which is still an incredible sum of money. Those people that we asked to buy a console years ago, we still have an obligation to them to meet their expectations and to have them feel rewarded for which platform they chose."
Okay. Shockingly, Ball stated that Xbox is actually facing supply issues right now. Xbox is producing consoles as fast as possible, but that, quote, "It's not a question of appetite. That is a privilege as a company. It is a challenge for us to figure out."
Ball also reinforced Xbox's brand spanking new exclusive initiative, promising players a reliable pipeline of exclusive games that validates their historical investment in Xbox as a platform. When did all consoles become like investment opportunities? It's crazy, but I get what he's saying. Yeah, if you bought a Series X, you're gonna be like, "Where's the fucking game?"
I kind of don't have any commentary here. I kind of crammed it all into the math of it, but I don't know. I guess the only thing for me is like a lot of words, not much truly definitive or bold being said, but that's kind of executive strategizing. Having seen some of the stuff, that is kind of just what it is. It's just kind of like vague, wishy-washy strategic stuff. Now, they obviously can't give it all away. They can't give away the entire playbook. But sometimes it's weird to hear somebody talk about something instead of just saying what it is. So, but then again, we're also getting the secondhand from GameSpot. Maybe there was some context to it that made some of these comments a little more definite. But as usual, I'm just left with this feeling of like everyone's saying this is a brand new day for Xbox, and then I'm wondering exactly what that means, because it seems like they're going to be forced to do the same thing everyone else is.
Lawrence, I'm so glad you said what you said, because I feel the same way. And our comments in the last few days have recently been, you guys really hate Xbox. You hate Xbox the most. You love Sony, PlayStation. You guys are PlayStation fanboys. And I was like, that's great. That's the craziest thing I ever read. Because we're not. We always comment on what Sony does wrong and right. And we always comment on what Xbox does or Microsoft does wrong and right. And it's interesting because the internet, for some reason, is accepting what Microsoft is saying at face value, which is wild. I mean, like, the fact that they lowered the price, in quotes again, they lowered the price, made everybody happy, and then all of a sudden everyone was like, wow, oh my gosh, my Xbox is back. They've done it. And like the fact that they're adding exclusives is also making them back. Everyone's saying we are so back on the exclusives train. So we are rightly skeptical. Number one, because we've seen CEOs do this a lot in our tenure here doing video game news, but also we've been first party to it. We were at companies that had CEOs that said, we're going to do all these things, and then they left in 2 years. So we've seen this happen before. We are waiting for the proof is in the pudding. That's what we're waiting for. So if you're like, man, these guys hate Xbox, we're skeptical. I'm very, very skeptical because it's going to be really hard to turn this brand around. And Project Helix is going to be the very first thing, I think, that everyone's going to be like, oh, it's $1,500 or it's $700. And everyone's going to be like, holy shit, they did it. And then we'll all go out and buy a Project Helix and everybody will play Halo Campaign Evolved for Infinity. And Microsoft will have made another $10 billion and we'll all be happy. But that may not happen. We'll see. We'll see.
I think it would be the best thing ever for gaming if Xbox survives and thrives. I like, bar none. I think the more competitors you have, I loved the 360 days. I thought that was a real golden era. It does seem like they're trying to get just more people back in their ecosystem, which I think is good. If you're making more off smaller numbers, that feels like comic book industry logic, and then you're just going to have a really small subset of people paying $4 or $5 for a comic. I think you need big audiences looking at your games, playing, getting, the more the merrier. And I think when Xbox is good, gaming is good. I like you need a strong competitor, especially to Sony. I think Nintendo kind of more than the other two plays in its own little area, which we'll talk about in another video today. But yeah, I don't know. I hope it works. We will see. But yeah, the new lower price is still higher than it was before. You can't get around that.
Actually, there's something you said, Bruce, that made a spark go off in my head. I think some people always liked the drama. You know, I'm one of them. I enjoyed it. Kind of thinking about video games as some rolling soap opera in which these massive corporations are always spiting and backbiting each other. When people say that Xbox is so back and accepted on face value is because they did get the thing they wanted already, which is that millennial nostalgic corporate warfare, the soda wars of video games. So in some ways, yeah, then in some ways Xbox has already delivered the goods in giving us something of a narrative and maybe a bit more character to associate with a company that wants our money. So yeah, I can appreciate that. Never really thought about it like that, but I can appreciate that.
You know what? I guess if the drama is good for competition, it's good for the consumer, like Brian said, great. I can't wait to pay $600 for my Project Helix, but it's not going to be that much. Thank you very much for watching Inside Games Daily. Game Pass PC is still great, by the way. We love Game Pass PC. It's a fantastic deal. Pretty much all the games on Game Pass PC are also on the standard Game Pass. It's really great. It is a really great deal. So thank you very much for watching the video here. And also, thank you very much for our patrons that support our Patreon. Every single day, we post all of our content there for free. And Lawrence posts memes, I think, every day. Sometimes edgy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. That's what I want to make sure. On our Patreon, if you want to support our content, we keep making more videos because you are supporting the Patreon. So thank you again. Very specifically, Scotty Ryan, Ati, and James Breyer. And then if you want to support the Patreon, we're going to read your name too.